you ever wanted to have a crappy robot and drive it too? Introducing TinCan Race, a revolutionary racing game set in an abandoned toy factory. Play as one of 7 different robots, each with its own unique abilities. Time to experience the games of tomorrow. Forget it, I'm done trying to make this game look high quality. Okay, all jokes aside, that intro was actually not at all planned. I just decided to do it the moment I opened CapCut. Anyways, yeah, this is TinCan Race, and it is, a game, I suppose. A game of all time. A very charming game, somehow. I originally discovered it when I was about 8 years old via a program by the name of WildTangent. That is going to evoke severe nostalgia or PTSD for you depending on who you are. Either that or you don't know what it is. If you don't know, it was basically bloatware that came free with HP and Dell computers in the early thousands. You got free demos of games, but for a limited time. I distinctly remember playing this game for about 10 minutes on my granddad's computer and then never being able to find it again. I would search for it online and I still couldn't find it, because there's an exclamation point and because TinCan is a compound word. When I finally did find it again, I wasn't about to pay $10 to buy shovelware from a now defunct company, so I scoured the internet and went through several sketchy sites and finally was able to get a hold of it. And it's surprisingly fun. In this video we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how such an apparently bad game can somehow be incredibly fun. So what even is TinCan? Well, obviously it's a kart racer. You're playing as these little robots in a supposedly abandoned toy factory that somehow still has electricity and running water, and the scale is a little bit odd, but it honestly really works well in the scale of the game. It gives it a very bubbly, friendly feel. What makes it even more unusual is the fact that there's tons of detail in these maps. They don't feel like low-budget maps. Take a look at this map, for example. You see the red tile reflecting on the ceiling? That had to be baked into the texture. They didn't have the technology for that, especially in a low-budget game. They really went above and beyond here. You might notice that the walls are not like that, though. That's because that's the same texture that's on the pillars in this map. I just don't understand it. Why would they do that? At this point, you probably also have noticed the track hazards. Everything from forklifts that are behaving like pullback cars to stinking Zambonis, crushers, doors, or even furniture. But while those add comedy, that's not what makes this game really fun. It has to do with the track design. Because honestly, it's surprisingly technical. Even Warehouse, the first track in the game, has some areas that are pretty tight when you get the boost. Ventilation, the second track of the game, is actually really tight, with some pretty fun hairpins. The third track, Courtyard, is actually pretty open, but there are some carefully placed obstacles and even one tight turn at the end that can make or break your entire race. The last track of Championship 1, Production, is actually pretty boring due to one incredibly game-breaking shortcut that the bots do use sometimes, but the actual conveyor belts are pretty difficult and really fun once you learn how to do them well. My personal favorite is Laboratory. Right angle turn after right angle turn, having to get through tight doors and actually some surprisingly challenging chicanes. Office level is pretty similar to Laboratory, but there's also some incredibly difficult hazards to avoid. Entrance Hall is another one of my favorites. It's just so twisty and turny, and it's so fun when you actually get a good run of it. I'm definitely not just coming up with more to say just so that I can have more time with it on screen because it's so satisfying to watch. Especially compared to the last track in the game, which is honestly not that great. One other thing that this has in common with most kart racers is that there are shortcuts. Every track has one, or sometimes two, carefully hidden shortcuts. Carefully hidden from the front at least. If you look at the exit, they're usually pretty easy to spot. I was able to clip a clean run of the shortcuts in all 8 tracks. Warehouse is alright, it's not a huge shortcut, not super hard. The one in Ventilation is pretty easy and also pretty big, look at the minimap. The one in Courtyard is pretty hard and honestly not always worth it. The one in Production, however, is insanely worth it. It is super easy and it is huge. The minimap speaks for itself, though keep in mind I am using a speed boost here. It's so broken that I don't even want to take it ever, but the bots take it. It's the only one the bots take, so of course I have to. Laboratories is a random vent you can drive through to skip one corner, and Office level has a very well hidden closet that blows people's minds, as well as the one between cubicles that I've shown multiple times already. But the reward for the most creative one has to go to Entrance Hall. It's disguised as an elevator because it's normally closed, but it does open up occasionally, allowing you to slide through. Before you ask, yes, both this door and the one on this end both close, and yes, you absolutely can get trapped inside. Compared to that one, the one in Forecourt is meh, it's fine. The physics are also surprisingly good considering the budget of this game, although I think I should probably say the driving feel because I don't think it's simulated in any way. The game is advertised as each robot having its own abilities or special characteristics, but yet there's no stat bars or anything like that in the game. I actually did some scientific testing that unfortunately was not super conclusive, but yeah, I did notice that yeah, they are all completely different. Or mostly different. The testing was not conclusive due to my own error, not due to the robots. But that's not what makes this game so charming. There's something else at play. The first thing I want to talk about here is the sounds. So you've heard me using this sound a lot, but it turns out that's exactly what it sounds like in the game. And then here's the respawn. The engine sounds are awesome too. I mean, take a listen to this. Not only that, but take a listen to the very creative boost sound. Even better, the sounds of crushers and things that fall are always before they actually land. Take a look at this. But the final boss of janky audio is how the sounds don't even fade in or out, they just exist. Just a quick reminder that yes, that was audio directly from the game. But now let's talk about the power-ups. The first one I want to talk about is the oil, which is something that your robot will literally drink, which will catapult you up to a really high speed that is hard to control. Then you have the plow, which is designed to spin out other robots, and that is supposed to slow you down, but is bugged and actually makes you much faster. In fact, I would argue that it's better than the oil, because it lasts longer and is much easier to control too. Oh, this is a convenient segue into the magnet, which holds you hostage for about 3 seconds and then flings you off with however much speed as you have on the throttle. But that's not where the jank lies. It is my displeasure to hereby introduce the zapper, and also its twin, the flamethrower. Bob's getting a bit abusive with that plow, it seems. Anyways, getting back on track, the next one I want to show you is the rocket. There are 2 of them, and they're impossible to use, especially the red one, because the launch is delayed by about 1.5 seconds. Fun fact though, you can actually use a rocket backwards.
Oh! Wait! Oh, I got both!
The jank continues into the physics, or rather the lack thereof. Going up or down slopes doesn't change anything except it changes your Z position. Collisions are not simulated either. They just play the same animation and push you away a little bit, except for boxes. So as you can see, there's a very confusing mix of jank and quality. Why? Honestly, I was scratching my head about this for a while as well, until I started extracting the music for this video, because of course you can't just download it off of YouTube because nobody even knows this game exists. You see, I'm a musician, and when I was extracting the music, I was noticing a lot of musical tendencies, as well as similar sounds between songs, which leads to one of 2 possibilities. Either they bought them all from the same stock library, or, based on the fact that the intro music is entirely custom, it was all custom made in-house. You combine that with the fact that even though the sound effects are interesting choices, they're all very cohesive. Not only that, but for a low-budget game, everything is very high quality, everything isn't compressed to bits, and that leads me to one interesting theory. From the outside looking in, it seems apparent that all of the budget was spent on creativity, on the maps, on the music, on the characters, and almost none of it was spent on actually developing the game. Just to give you an example, when you really think about it, any real lack of polish is due to the actual game physics or the actual mechanics of the game rather than the creative side. Like for example, the audio quality is good, but the audio cuts in and out. One thing that piques my curiosity though, do you think that this was deliberate or accidental? Do you think that they spent so much budget on creative that they didn't realize that they used it all? Or do you think that they deliberately did this because they knew that spending it on creative would make a more enjoyable game? Because to be quite frank, even with the jank, I find this to be a fun game. That leads me to one final question. Would you play this? It's kind of absurd to think that this game is legally an adult, and yet WildTangent is still selling it for $10. Especially considering that Phenomedia, or however you say the company's name, the people who published it and made it, are no longer around. Like I mentioned, it was quite the wild goose chase to try to get the game, and because of that I'm happy to tell you that if you want the game, you can get it for free on our Discord server. Join with the link in the description. I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like this game could honestly have a community if more people knew it existed, because I can tell you right now that there are people who still play this game, and even a couple who speedrun it. It even has a LAN multiplayer option, so yes, if you have Radman or Hamachi or whatever, you can actually play with your friends. I mean, it's very unstable to the point that if one person has bad internet, it will take out the whole lobby, but it's still there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that now you can see why I'm still fascinated by this crazy game. That's gonna be all for this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.